we realize that when girls finish their school and they're entering college, that becomes, a point of inflection where there is a second impediment that comes in, which is girls attain the age of marriage.
So in my mind, helping that one girl child is actually helping that one single woman who's trying to really strive and make ends meet.
Is that girls do not have access to technology. Many of them do not have internet. Many of them do not have a basic computer at home.
Athletes on a daily basis are pushing barriers and breaking barriers, right? Whether it's physically, whether it's what's expected of them, their own records. And again, for women to see other women doing this really helps them see this is possible.
And these are actually students, who are pursuing their MBBS programs from government colleges. The kind of applications, and I would say to Neha also, the kind of response that we're getting is really incredible. Sometimes we feel that we should have more funds to kind of support more number of students.
And I think the other aspects that we spoke about, the challenges on safety of women, on health of women. So those are the quick how do I say, those are the areas that in my current role I would definitely be looking out for.
To help train teachers on counseling girls on career options, and of course our focus is particularly on STEM education. So we are looking at doing that, and what I want to say is that maybe at a government level, I would definitely look forward to sharing those toolkits with the government to say why not spread that.
Hi, and a very good afternoon to all of you. I am Salma Rahman, and it is with a profound sense of honor that I welcome all of you to this significant thought session, where we have gathered with a shared commitment to address one of the most pertinent subjects of our time, breaking barriers for girls' education, exploring key challenges, and forging the path forward. This session marks a critical juncture in our collective journey towards creating a more equitable and prosperous society. And it is particularly apt that we assemble here today in the observance of the International Day of the Girl Child, celebrated on 11th of October every year. We have the distinct privilege of hosting a remarkable panel of trailblazing industry leaders, each hailing from diverse domains, yet united by a common purpose, the empowerment of girls through education. Allow me to introduce our esteemed panelists. We have with us Ms. Neelima De Silva Dalvi, Deputy Vice President, CSR Lead at Mahindra Finance. We have Ms. Krishna Vilasini Bharadwaj, Director Corporate Affairs and Engagement for L'Oreal India. Gayathri Sharma, Head of Communications, India and South Asia at Rolls-Royce. Sahista Iqbal, Manager CSR for GlaxoSmithKline Pharmaceuticals Limited. Ms. Gauri Bhure, Head of CSR at DXC Technology. And Ms. Sapna Bhavnani, Vice President Communications and CSR Asia Pacific at Alstom. To take this session forward, I now invite Ms. Neha Agarwal, Chief Strategy and Growth Officer at Body for Study. Over to you, Neha.
Thank you so much, Salma. And the theme of our discussion today is breaking barriers for girls' education. And I have a panel full of very successful women from all across the domains, all working together and addressing the key challenges and helping these girls, in forging the path forward. A very warm welcome to all our panelists and to the audience. As it is said, educating a girl means educating an entire family, or rather an entire generation, and eventually an entire nation. So, and we have seen successful, very impactful stories of women, getting successful when they're supported in the right manner. And I would like to highlight one here very specifically. Very recently, last week, Annie L. Heulier became the 6th woman to receive Nobel Prize after winning L'Oreal UNESCO for Young Woman in Science Award. 12 years ago, the professor, who won the L'Oreal UNESCO for Women in Science International Award for developing the world's fastest camera to record events in attoseconds. Attoseconds means a billionth of a second. And now she has received the Nobel Prize in physics. And we have Krishna also with us, who has, been the lever of change for L'Oreal Young Women in Science Scholarship. So what I say is that education is a fundamental human right, and it is definitely a critical factor of any social or economic growth. And this is one of the classic examples which I talked about. But however, despite significant process and the progress which we have made in the recent decades, there has been certainly an increase in the GER ratios in India as well, if I talk about. But still many barriers continue to impede girls' access to quality education. And this varies from various aspects like, financial barriers or access to the right, safe environment to these girls, many gender stereotypes, and so on and so forth. So I would like to now open it up for our panelists here who have been working across multiple interventions to support, empower girls in their own ways, right? So what do you think are the challenges encountered by the girls while you implemented your program? So let me start with Krishna, and where you have been doing some work, and I would like to know more from you in terms of what challenges you have encountered and how you have supported and addressed those challenges as well, Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Neha. So let me actually start with saying that it's not just education. When we talk about the whole domain of girl-child education, it really starts at home. So there is a whole socio-economic context to girl-child education. In the program that we partner Buddy for Study with, which is Young Women in Science, the first question that we ask the girls who have applied for scholarship, these are meritorious candidates, the first question we ask is, do your parents support? And clearly the answer is yes. So that's where we start, which is at home, at the family level. The second one, I would say, is a geographic challenge that we have to deal with, which is the distance from the home to school. Are they able to walk it up? Do they have to take a train? Do they have to take a bus? And is it safe for them? So I think for us, when we started this program, these were the two big challenges. One is at a society and family level, and two was literally the geographic level, to say the paths that these women are going to take, are they safe? And the third one, which we don't focus on, but I know that a lot of partners, do focus, is really around the health and hygiene of the education institution that they're going to. We all know that the drop-offs in primary to secondary education, when it happens when children are between the ages of 12 and 14, when they start menstruating, and there are not enough bathrooms in the school that would give them a safe and secure environment. So I would say that before we talk about education, these are the things that we have kept in mind. To give you a little bit more color on the program that we're doing, we really were, when we looked at this project of identifying girls who have finished their 12th standard for our program Young Women in Science. Now, we could have started earlier, or we could have started at a later stage, post-graduation, PhDs. But we realized that the first impediment, which is between the ages of 12 and 14, where the where the drop-offs happen, that is kind of looked after or addressed by the local authorities and at the center, where there is there are solutions that are being provided. There's a whole national focus on cleaner toilets, cleaner schools, nutrition at school. So that was being looked after. We realized that when girls finish their school and they're entering college, that becomes, a point of inflection where there is a second impediment that comes in, which is girls attain the age of marriage. And that's when parents have to decide whether it's, time to invest in their education, prepare them for future, or go into the conventional future that they deem as positive and happy, where they think that marriage is the route to, a woman's future and her empowerment. So that's the reason why for Young Women in Science in India, and this is exclusive, where L'Oreal around the world actually gives us scholarships for, for postgraduate and PhD. But in India, we made a special case and we said we have to do it at the class 12 level. And we're very happy to see that, with the, support that we've got from you, Neha, and team, we have no dropouts, which means that we have looked at the challenges, the potential reasons to drop out. and we have overcome all of those. So it does make me, feel like while it's a very, very small campaign, but it's a consistent effort. And I do think that, when more people, would invest targeted, at these age groups, we would be able to make a larger difference.
Absolutely, Krishna, very rightly said. A few of the challenges which you have highlighted in terms of, challenges at the family level, the girl child marriages though India has come a long way, but still they are prevalent more in the rural segment in the India. And Laurel, through its efforts since now more than 2 decades, have been supporting 50 girls each every year. And I'm sure this is going to be life-changing for these girls through the support which they get from the Laurel for Young Women in Science Scholarship. So thank you so much for that. So Gayathri, I will come to you where Rolls-Royce has been doing some fantastic work and has been supporting girls through their intervention. So what do you think that the challenges which girls are encountering, and how can Rolls-Royce really helping them?
Thanks, Neha, and of course, firstly, thanks to you and the entire team at Buddy for Study, because I think there's some phenomenal work that you all have enabled, and especially as an aggregator that brings together so many different opportunities for girls to, not just girls probably, to, pursue education without the financial barriers or overcoming some part of that financial barrier to education is really, really fantastic. I think at Rolls-Royce, our endeavor has been to really look at particularly girls across the age group. And we do have programs at the mid-school level, the high school level, and post-grad as well. So financial, of course, is always, a consideration, because I think there are so many children who do either drop out or they're not able to continue their education. So I think, in fact, even for our program of scholarship for engineering students that we sponsor with Buddy for Study, the scholarships for STEM undergrad students that we've done with you over the last couple of years, I think the main focus was definitely to ensure that there is no break in the education because of financial constraints, and how can we kind of, contribute a little bit towards that. And I think what really came across and stood out for us as we went through that process with you was how many children are coming from single income families where they have lost a key earning member of the family, and it's been across the board, not just during COVID, but pre-COVID, post-COVID. The kind of applicants that we've got, it clearly shows that the challenges are even greater for these children, because not only do they come from that strata of society, but they're also further constrained because there's only a mother who's earning and is struggling to kind of make ends meet. So that has really been stark to say that it's not just the girls. Let's talk about also the fact that there are so many single women out there who are struggling to educate their children. So in my mind, helping that one girl child is actually helping that one single woman who's trying to really strive and make ends meet and make her way through the world and give her child a better life. So I think one is, of course, that part in terms of financially helping them. But I think the second part is also about social mindsets, and that's definitely been, as was already talked about. I think that's a very key factor that even today, even in urban metros, that mindset challenge continues to be a huge challenge. And we have actually been doing some work where at the school level, high school level, we're working with not just the girls, but we're also doing counseling of their parents, so that you're really looking at how can you change the mindset of at least each of the parents of these girls that we are working with directly, so that you're not just opening the doors for that one girl, but for generations of girls who will come and who will be born in that family. So, change, I think if we can even make that one small change, we need to recognize the fact that nothing we do is too small or too little to make a difference, because the difference you're making is longer lasting than probably we envision today. So the mindset has definitely, been stark in terms of parents definitely giving a lot of preference to the boys over girls, girls' education being discontinued because of financial constraints. We've also seen, in fact, very recently, one of our programs in Bangalore, we saw girls coming and saying, I've scored 80 to 90% marks, and my brother scores 50%, and he gets a phone as a reward, or he gets something else as a gift, or a gold ring or something, where the parents are rewarding the boys and not rewarding the girls. Similarly, we've seen girls whose mothers, I mean, I'm talking about the mother of a child saying, I didn't know she wants to be a doctor. मुझे तो पता ही नहीं था. And that, makes you think that here is a child whose own mother has never asked her, what do you want to be? So that's not even a question asked to these girls. And that's very, very stark, because you take it for granted that even when you have a guest who comes home, they ask your children, what do you want to be when you grow up? So it's such a basic thing that we take for granted. And these are girls who have ambitions, who have dreams, but there is no acknowledgement of that aspiration in their life, in their own personal, in their own immediate families. So I think that mindset change, that these girls can change the world, can change your own immediate family, and even tomorrow when they get married, that they can change things for their future families, I think is a big thing to create as a mindset change. And I think those are definitely big factors. And of course, I think there's a lot written about more challenges like washrooms and so many other things. I think I've also had the privilege of being part of some programs in the past also in my career, where I think these are all stark challenges that girls are facing. But I personally believe that, everything that each one of us is trying to do, or, even helping through our organizations, make that little bit of a difference, it really counts.
Definitely, it counts, Gayatri. Every single support which the funders like you are giving, and I still remember that day when COVID came in 2020, and Rolls-Royce was one of the first programs supporting the COVID orphans. Where we received thousands and thousands of applications, and we were awestruck in terms of, okay, now what to do, because there was so much of the need which reflects that the girls have, and the support which they need. So definitely such programs are helping these girls dream big, is what I'll say. So yeah, thank you so much for that. Neelima, few words from you in terms of what do you think? You've been working across so many programs in the driver communities, otherwise as well, and you have that such a background, social background. So what do you think that, the challenges with these girls are encountering, and how can we address those?
Sure. Thank you, Neha. So at Mahindra Finance, just to give you some background, we provide scholarships to the girls right from first standard till post graduation. And one of the biggest challenges that we, and of course along with Buddy for Study, we are facing, that we are not getting enough applications for higher education. Whenever it is coming up to 9th and 10th standard, we complete our applications quota very soon. But after 11th standard, the train just decreases, and when it reaches to post graduation, it is like, it's so minuscule. So this is one of the biggest challenge where, and we all know what are the reasons, I don't want to get into it, but for the girls to reach even to those levels is difficult. So that is one challenge that we are facing, where we don't get enough applications for the higher education, especially from girls, because we as part of our scholarship program, we insist that we should have minimum 70% participation from women beneficiaries. The second challenge that we face is for the girls who are 11 plus, we take an initial interview just to understand the real requirement of the scholarship. And while interacting with them, we realize that many of them are not clear about their future path or their career path. When we ask them that what do you want to become, they have no clarity. Dekha jayega baad mein. When we ask them that, where do you see yourselves after 3 years, not even 5 or 10 years, people are not clear. Many women, many girls are not aware about various career paths or the streams that they take other than arts, commerce, and science. So that is also, in fact, we have opened up our scholarship for any professional or semi-professional course. But still, it's a challenge that we face. We don't get enough applications from other than traditional courses. So the third challenge is a lack of technological support. So Gayatri just mentioned that a boy getting 55% gets a phone, and a girl getting even 82% is not even rewarded with a chocolate, right? So that's the problem even we face here, that our girls do not have access to this kind of basic stuff like telephone or laptop or computer. And I think that's also one of the reasons why many girls are not able to even apply for the scholarship. Of course, our partner Body for Study goes out of their way to reach out to those girls who do not have access to such technology, who cannot apply for scholarships on online. So they go to places and they enable these girls. But this is also one of the reasons, one of the challenges, that girls do not have access to technology. Many of them do not have internet. Many of them do not have a basic computer at home. And we can imagine that without these things, only academic support, will not be able to take them too far in their career. So these are some of the challenges that we face at implementation level. And of course, I don't want to get into all the reasons. We all are learned panel here. We all know what are the reasons there. So
Yes, definitely, Neelima. One thing which you mentioned is that not getting enough applications as we move on in the higher education segment. And that is actually worth noting, where in India, at an overall level, we have seen as a statistics that the girls surpass boys in the enrollment when it comes to few, courses like arts or, like traditional courses. But when it comes to STEM courses, there's definitely what I can say is less than 30% enrollment, and it is a male dominated courses, if I talk about like engineering or other technical courses. And even me coming up from an engineering background, I've seen that in a class of say 100 students, there were merely 15-20 girls at that time. So certainly the participation in the STEM courses and in the higher education, we still need a lot of encouragement from the girls. And also, if I talk about at the leadership positions, we have seen very critical phases like COVID-19 or Chandrayaan-3, which has recently launched. And only 18% of the scientists were women, if I talk about Chandrayaan-3. So that is where there's a still long way to go for the girls to take up leadership positions in the STEM in future. So Gauri, I would want to know your perspective in terms of, what opportunities exist for interventions, particularly in fostering greater inclusion of girls in the STEM education.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Neha. And in fact, actually, it resonates with us because at DXC, we recently completed a milestone where we went from 28% women in the workforce to 40% women, which is a lot for the tech sector. And what we realize is, we'd eventually like to do even better. Is that it's not enough to sort of usher in women at the employment level. Where we really need to start is STEM education and encouraging girls to take up subjects that are traditionally supposed to be, as you were saying, male domain. And in fact, I find it sort of almost annoying. There's these memes going around about girl math and boy math, and there's this very prevalent idea that somehow cognitively and intellectually less is accessible to women. And it's a very deep rooted idea to sort of uproot. And absolutely, it starts at the educational level. And in fact, we recently with Buddy for Study reinstated our DXC Progressing Minds Scholarship, which is scholarships for women in STEM, precisely for this. It is the idea that it's an untapped talent. I think I forget the exact statistic now. I think by age 7, girls start to think boys are better at math, and there's nothing in the curriculum that at 7 sort of differentiates according to gender. It's clearly somebody either subliminally or maybe even vocally is telling them that this is not ye beta aapka ye nahi hai, aap ye karo. So absolutely we need to be sort of actively intervening and pushing back against this idea. I think the more role models women see and girls see, the more they feel like if you can see it, you can be it. And in fact, the other area that we sort of wanted to intervene, where we also think that is space for disruption is sports. So the other scholarship we started was for the same idea that sports is more than just sport. It's more than just a game. It's confidence building, it's character building, it's community building, and it is again another. Athletes on a daily basis are pushing barriers and breaking barriers, right? Whether it's physically, whether it's what's expected of them, their own records, and again for women to see other women doing this really helps them see this is possible. So I would say scholarships by all means are a primary sort of way for us to intervene in this. It is to make it accessible. It's also to allow them an alternative route. So if you're not able to change the mindset of the mom or the dad, then here's another way for you to access what should be yours.
Absolutely. And Gauri, talking about the sports scholarships which you have launched for women, wherever I've been talking about this scholarship, and I've been getting overwhelming response, and they're like, oh, that's the first time where someone has thought about only sports women scholarship, right? So I'm sure this is gonna, create that benchmark going forward, and a lot of more funders will be motivated to support not only for education. As you rightly said, it really gives that feeling of community building and coming up together. And, a lot of sports definitely, bring that leadership qualities as well, and teamwork as well. So that is where I'm sure sports scholarship is also a very good way of helping these girls, which a lot of girls have a natural choice of sports. If I talk about, I was just going, I went to a tribal area, tribal belt some time back, and their sports was an obvious choice for girls, and they were very good by DNA, by the genes. They were very good in sports. So if you're able to encourage them there, I am sure they're going to do wonders. So thank you so much for that. So Sahista, there's another angle which I would want to know from you, where you have been, supporting a lot of students in these STEM courses and through a very unique program. So I would want you to talk more about, the opportunities which exist, and how we can bring it more inclusive for girls in the STEM education.
Sure, I think thank you so much, Neha, and the other panelists. I think it's really incredible to hear from everyone the different initiatives everybody has taken to kind of really bring in the change and have that encouraging and an inclusivity of girls uh, into the field of education. And I think that's the foremost for anything to start with is education. So I think adding to your question, I think the program that we have been working with Buddy for Study, which we feel is first of its kind, is basically providing scholarship to the MBBS students who are high on merit, but lack the financial, ability to actually go ahead with. And these are actually students, who have pursuing their MBBS programs from government colleges. Now, here, if you see, the kind of applications, and I would say to Neha also, the kind of response that we're getting is really incredible. Like, somewhere, sometimes we feel that we should have more funds to kind of support more number of students, because that's the actual gap that exists between the demand as well as the supply that we are able to kind of provide. This particular program here, we try to kind of involve various students. These students actually belong to the, I would say, some of these are first time goers to the college. They are first learners in their entire district city. The kind of conversations when we have with them, basically, if you see, they would like to bring in a change in their communities, in their villages, etc. So here, one such story that I really recollect is, I think, one of the student who was first doctor in few years to go, but she was first doctor in her entire village. And when we asked her as to what does that inspire, she's like, I want to be the first doctor in the village and provides support to the entire community. So that's where I think education with the right set of funding, I think, does provide the kind of change that we would like to bring in, I think, amongst the community, amongst the society.
Absolutely. So yes, so GSK Scholars Program is a very unique program, Sahista, where we are supporting the medical MBBS students, and I'm sure I have seen so many cases, even at a personal level, through the distance families, that kind of MBBS is one such kind of studies where you need a lot of funds. And if there's a funder at the back end, one such like GSK, it brings in a lot of confidence in the parents as well, to take that forward and help these students go and pursue that education. So that's a fantastic work which we are doing there. While all of us, are working towards breaking barriers for girls for their better future through each of the programs, but I would like to discuss here that what we believe can be the areas of collaboration in the social sector among all of us, through which initiatives and so that this helps in advancing the girls' education, girls, breaking their barriers and giving them more strength. So, any suggestions, Neelima, from you on this, where more collaboration, what kind of collaboration you think can bring in the ecosystem to support the girls and strengthen them more?
Sure. So I'm sure all of you must be aware about Nani Kali, a flagship program of Mahindra. I think it's an excellent example of collaboration, because without such collaboration we really cannot achieve the kind of scale that we need to do, right? So Nani Kali, almost more than 5.5 lakh girls are being supported every year, and it's possible only through collaborations. So I think we as corporates should be one willing to support co-funding projects. In India, if we see, the co-funding projects are very, very less. I mean, all of us would want to have our own identity, or but I think if we come across and also support a portion of a larger project, will definitely help. The second thought that I want to share with regards to collaboration is that inter corporate collaboration. So if you have some skills or resources where you can give access to, for example, a career guidance. One of one of a corporate who provides this kind of a career counseling free of charge to all the girls. I just happened to speak with the person and said, will you be willing to extend those services to our girls? Means our girls as in the girls who are supported under the scholarships. And they were more than willing to do this. So that is how I think we are able to deepen the impact, enrich, and after all, it is benefiting the beneficiaries only. I don't think it should matter whether it's your beneficiary or it's my beneficiary. So I think this is the collaboration can really help, and we have to give a thought on co-funding of projects, supporting small components of a bigger project.
Absolutely, Neelima. I second that, where in India we have not seen much of impact coming up, where we have funders collaborating together. And I'm sure this is the start, and the way is long where we are going. And such impact financing and collaborations will certainly help create bigger impact. Krishna, one thing this reminds me of collaboration is which Neelima was talking about, is why only restrict to your own scholarship? scholars and support across all in career counseling. So this reminds me of Laurel Boost as a program where you have been trying to support students from the underprivileged background, irrespective of any program they come from, and the way the mentoring has been given. Do you want to speak a little bit more there, and how what help what thoughts were there while you initiated that, and what are your plans there?
Sure, Neha. So, firstly, thank you, Neelima. I think it's nice to see, us talking about collaborations. I completely agree on that. But before that, I think the way L'Oreal is oriented towards girl child education is beyond the candidates that we support. And these girls who are supported for 4 years, with the scholarship, it doesn't end there, and we are very, very aware of it. I think the realization that after 4 years, then the next challenge that these girls have to face is employment. And depending on the backgrounds they come from, sometimes these challenges can be linguistic, these challenges can be communication related. So, and therefore, when we looked at how do we kind of really bolster, one, our partnership with you, Neha and team, and two, also to kind of really go to the next level beyond the scholarship when the girls have finished their education. And therefore, that kind of formed, the genesis for the Boost program that we do. Now, logistically, it's under a different, team. We have a different campaign called L'Oreal for Youth. So all of that is logistics for us. But I think if you look at it at a slightly higher level, it's really kind of taking a small program, the learnings that we've had, with those, with all these years, from each of the girls who write to us, Neha, regularly once they finish their courses, some of them who get their jobs in, fairly reputed organizations, and some of them we don't know. Right. So I think for us, it's like some sort of a closing of the loop, and making sure that we are, providing that extended support. So I think both are important, to aggregate our own sources, find synergies internally. And I'm sure there will be opportunities, for us to partner with the government, with the civil society, and with, probably, who knows, some of the partners who are here today on the panel. I think we should be open. I think that, overall, this whole scenario is going to change in the next few years. The markers of success will be different. They won't be specified just to, like, they won't be just education markers. They would go beyond that, would go into socioeconomic. And I think the other aspects that we spoke about, the challenges on safety of women, on health of women. So those are the, quick, how do I say, those are the areas that, in my current role, I would definitely be looking out for. So if there are partners who are doing anything for women's safety, better transport, free transport, absolutely happy to do that. Anybody who's talking about health and hygiene, absolutely happy. And I think the third one, and at large, that we could do is really on the awareness about, the division of labor. The reason why we do not have enough students who are going to the next course is the cultural conditioning of certain jobs are for women, and they have to be inside the home to do that. So there are domestic responsibilities, there are caregiving responsibilities. COVID is a brilliant example that kind of brought these responsibilities to fore, where women were expected to work at home and at work as well. They were expected to be at work. So I think a lot of areas there that do throw in opportunities for us to collaborate. And I would say that we would be open to these collaborations, and hope that something works out soon.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the time when this panel was formed, the first feeling which came to my mind was that, wow, what a fantastic panel. And hopefully they can collaborate, and we all can collaborate together beyond our own programs, and see if there's a bigger impact which can be created. And thank you so much, Krishna, for putting up that very candidly, and hoping to see some more collaborations from the same panel going forward. So, Sahista, coming to you, what do you think are the key areas of collaboration in the social sector? And how we can really strengthen more girl education through collaborations.
So I think, I think Neelima and Krishna has kind of put it forth that, it's, I think, we all are open here, I think, all driving a same cause, that is, I think, providing the betterment of the society. I think that's what we all intend to. I think coming to the various collaboration efforts, I think, there are multiple avenues, and it's, I think, the synergy is matching up in terms of the different programs that are being run, be it in the space of today, while we all have been connected to discuss on the topic of girl education and its inclusivity. So I think tapping on those elements, I think majorly focusing on areas of, could be as simple as uh, having discussion, awareness sessions, talks. I think the best way would be the upcoming marathons. I think maybe having runs like that, where we all can actually have a campaign on the International Girl Child. Why not? And it's like an entire campaign where all organizations could collaborate together. And one such examples that could be.
Yeah.
The other would be, I think, definitely on, like, the various health and hygiene aspects, as we all talked about. I think that could also be a wash, can be another such areas. I think why not a scholarship program? Just throwing on an idea where we all have a common scholarship program, all contributing to a girl child. Why not? So I think these could be various avenues which can be picked up. I think at GSK, I think inclusivity, I think, is the forefront. We all believe in having gender equality. We all, even in our office, actually promotes women empowerment. We also encourage gender balance, work life balance. So I think all these elements do add a lot of things.
Yes, I think I really like the idea of girls marathon, where because definitely bringing in all the girls and all the funders together at one place can also bring in a lot of support which they can get from each other. Even the beneficiaries can see other role models as well. So certainly that's a good idea. So Gayatri, I would want to know one thing from you, where Rolls-Royce has been doing so many things with government, while at the global level as well. If I talk about the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, if I talk about SDG 4, which is quality education, SDG 5, which is gender equality, they have been promoting somewhere or the other girls' education as well. And Indian government has been taking certain initiatives in terms of NEP policies, Samagra Shiksha 2.0 program, where they're helping these girls in kind of giving the right resources, and they have also been supporting a little bit more on the Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalayas, which they are increasing till class 12. So government has been taking their own initiatives in their own ways, but I would want to know that what are the suggestions you would want to give to the policymakers for creating more conducive policies for CSR sector, especially aimed at addressing the challenges in girl education?
Thanks, Neha. I think we've heard some fantastic discussions today, and from a policymaker standpoint, to be honest, I don't want to really talk about anything very macro, because I believe that the government is looking at so many different areas, and I think there's, of course, a lot more to be done. But one of the things that I would like to probably all of us to think about and put forward to the government is the fact that when you look at the teachers, especially in the government sector, and we know that there are varying levels of skill, etc., among the teachers that are teaching these girls. But what I have also found is there are also teachers amongst these who are very, very passionate about the kids, who really want to make a difference to each and every child who's coming into their classroom, who are really, when we take a program to the school level, they are actually very, very forthcoming in terms of giving their time and effort to making sure that the girls actually benefit from these programs. They give us fantastic suggestions. I mean, career counseling, for example, is one of the things which a lot of the the teachers in the schools have actually told us that this is fantastic for the girls, because most of them, when they take science because they like the subjects, they don't know what to do other than becoming a teacher, other than becoming a doctor or an engineer. And so they feel very constrained, because they admit that the level of study and preparation is not equipped to help every one of the girls clear a NEET or a JEE or whatever to get in. And so for them to understand that based on their aptitude there can be so many more career options is something that I think teachers should be also equipped to help their students understand. So one of the programs, in fact, that we are launching this year is to help train teachers on counseling girls on career options. And of course, our focus is particularly on STEM education. So we are looking at doing that. And what I want to say is that maybe at a government level, I would definitely look forward to sharing those toolkits with the government to say, why not spread that? And expand the reach, because as corporates we only have that much of that much of resources to be able to reach out to, say 10 schools, 20 schools, and the teachers from those schools and train them. But at a government level, if those toolkits can be shared at a wider level and those trainings can be taken up, so one, empowering those teachers to be the right guides and to provide that kind of counseling at the school itself would definitely help. And two, I also felt, especially in the field of STEM, that it is a big challenge when you're trying. It is a challenge because there are mindset issues, there are financial constraints, there's so much in terms of support that they need. So maybe we should have a STEM champion award, which recognizes teachers who are championing girls in STEM. And I think that's probably something that the government should look at doing, because the recognition when it comes from the government has that much more weightage for those teachers also. It means a lot and encourages them to keep doing more for these girls. So I think it's really small changes that I wish we could make. And to be honest, I think at our level, I'm definitely in agreement with with what Krishna and Neelima and everybody has been talking about in terms of really sharing our own resources and learning. And I am definitely looking at putting up and making public the teacher training toolkits, as well as toolkits for helping people to counsel parents. So these will be made available to all and will be made public in the next couple of months as soon as we finish developing them. And I would love to, Neelima, connect with you offline to connect with your friend who's providing these career counseling programs as well. I think it really is about how can we I understand that as corporates there is a mindset to own programs and to be seen as doing your own programs. But I think there are so many learnings and so many resources we are creating in the process, which we can avoid the duplication of that effort by actually sharing it wider and not being selfish about keeping it all to ourselves. So maybe that is, I think, a fantastic thought that has come out, and I think I'm completely in on that, and I commit my support to sharing whatever resources and learnings that we have through our programs.
That's superb, Gayathri. I'm sure that will benefit a lot of students in the nation for sure. And one thing which you mentioned was in the teacher counseling, that is very much needed when it comes to girls, in particularly girls. Recently, I was talking to one of the sports athletes. She's a national level football player in the Indian football team, and she mentioned that one of the biggest pain points for them was that the coaches who trains them do not know how to handle girls. I mean, they've been always training boys for their lives, right? When it comes to giving training to girls, they're not that sensitive. They're not sensitive about the cycle, how the girl goes through, both emotional, physical as well. So teacher training in all aspects, you talked about in the education side, I'm talking about in the sports as well. So this is something very crucial for us, for the government also to understand that, one, we are having more trained teachers. Second, probably if we can have more female teachers as well across all levels, can also bring in some change, especially if I talk about in the rural belt where the girls are more comfortable when it comes to having female teachers. So thank you so much for putting that up. Gauri, any message you would want to give to the ambitious young girl who aspire to dream big and but then do have a lot of hindrances when it comes to completing their education?
That's a big one. So I'll try and keep it simple, but I want to tell them that you have the right idea. If you are chasing education with all your heart, that's your magic bullet. That's the golden key to the kingdom. You know, if there is a disruptor to the social order, it is education. You know, when we were young and we played snakes and ladders, that little ladder that would let you skip over things, that is what education is. And I hope this little session gives you a sense of how many resources there are out there and how many people there are out there that are willing to invest, because you are our future, you know. So anything sort of that we are in a privileged position to be able to offer and create programs for, it is our investment in a world that's fairer, that's more just, that has a better climate. So by all means, you know, push yourself to find that scholarship, and if not, find that loan. Expand also what your idea of education and being educated means. You know, it isn't going to be enough. It isn't currently either, but definitely by the time you are working, to just be sort of learned and bookish. You know, truly sort of invest in self-reflection and growth, invest in mentors that will support you and be your cheerleaders. Find other women who will support you and stand by you through this journey. I think all of us on this call can sort of speak to the enormous power of women to support other women, and be each other's resources and guides. So I think I now speak for all of us here that we have a lot of hope and a lot of faith in the generation that's coming. And I mean, we will be here cheering you on and doing the best we can to make this possible for you.
Absolutely. Neelima, anything from you, you know, in terms of giving message to the girls, and also anything from the policymaker side which you would want to highlight, which they should take care of?
I think Gauri has really summarized it very well. I just want to add one line that I am a proud recipient of a J.R.D. Tata scholarship, and I know what difference it has made to my life. And therefore, first of all, I congratulate all of you for conceiving such a wonderful program for scholarship for girls. And I really appeal to all our scholars, all our, especially our girl scholars, that make best use of such opportunities. These opportunities do not come so very often. They do not come to everyone. So we are the privileged lot who are, receiving this scholarship. So just make best of it.
Thank you so much. Any inputs from Sahista, Krishna, or Gayathri while we conclude this, especially on the STEM education? All three of you have been focusing that, and how girls can get more resources, and what can be done there.
Well, I could go first. I think overall for education, my one message to girls is that it's not optional. It's not marriage versus education. It's not child versus education. It's not optional. Education has to come first. What it really does is, once you are educated, it leads to empowerment, it leads to employment, it leads to financial independence. And that's the one line that I think girls should remember for the next 300 years, so that we can undo what has been happening with girls for the last 3 centuries. So that's one. Number two, on STEM, we have enough and more role models in STEM. The challenge there is education, further education and research versus the conventional roles that the society or peer groups ask. So is it a job versus PhD? Is it academics versus commercial success? These are the big questions that girls will have to, address. But I think really the key thing is to listen to your heart. If especially in senior education, when you have these decisions to make, then follow the purpose. See what the purpose is, and if you really believe that that's something that will make a larger impact, then go with that one. So,
thank you so much, Gayathri. Sahista, anything from you before we conclude this session?
I'll probably just add to what Krishna was also saying. I think it's very important for girls to realize that we are very, very strong and we are very strong-willed, which means that anything you want to do, you can find a way to do it. And that's very, very important to remember, because it's very easy to give up and give in at times. But when you decide that you want to pursue something, that you want to achieve something, you're going to find the way. And that includes facing any financial challenges. Yes, there are challenges. And yes, corporates like ours may offer small amounts of help, but there is help available. It's not limited to what some of us are doing. There are so many other avenues, resources which are available. It's up to you to find that way and to pursue that path and to find a way to keep going on that path, because like Krishna was saying, financial independence is so important that you need to be your own person at the end of the day. And once that happens, you know that you can always count on yourself for achieving anything you want in life. So where there is a will, there is a way is the most true saying, I think, especially for women, because we have the will. So we will find a way. And I think every girl should do that.
Wonderful. Great. Yes, Sahista.
So I think all of us have, I think, covered most of it. I think the only phase that I would like to pick is that women, or I would say the girl, is actually so much self-reliant and so much, once if we think something of doing it, we actually end up kind of doing it. So just one phase there, it's like nothing is impossible, but I am possible. So going to that anything that you intend to do, you will surely achieve it. So I think that's the only message that I would leave to all of you, in terms of, yes, you can do it, and yes, it's possible.
Wonderful. So I'm sure the girls will be listening out, will be very highly motivated, and they should keep on their dreams and keep on that journey of moving forward towards the betterment. So it was quite an insightful session, talking about various aspects, starting from what challenges girls face, be it financial constraints or gender stereotypes, and then the ways how we can address them, why the girls should actually complete their education, go towards employment, be self independent. All of that certainly reflects that more and more girls, education is the key here, and more participation from girls and from funders both will be very important for the nation to really develop. And as per UNICEF, we have seen that for every additional year of secondary education a girls take, there's a increment of almost 10 to 15% in their family income. So that's all the more motivation for the girls to really have that layers of education coming up for them, so that they're more financially independent. Thank you so much everyone for your time and inputs. It was indeed a wonderful panel, and for me it was the first panel where I've hosted all the powerful women. So thank you so much for your participation.
Thank you, Neha, and thank you other panelists.
Thank you.